There we go. Okay. Hi, Sam. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I just wanted to start the session off first, kind of do a check-in and see where you're at from our last meeting that we had. So what you been up to?
So I was talking to you the last session about working and kind of switching up my schedule because I kind of got that ultimatum about going in to work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have been sticking to the schedule of, waking up in the morning, and I have been, practicing like mindfulness, more meditation, right? Because I feel like the trigger was the coffee in the morning. So like when I had the coffee, it really was like, okay, I had my cup of coffee, I got ready. Now it was like, oh, I don't have anything to do today, so I'm just going to drink. Or I don't want to go into work, so I'm just going to drink. So I haven't been drinking coffee right in the morning. So I guess like, yeah, I'll give you a little glimpse of what my schedule looks like. So I wake up, I have been working Monday through Friday. Sometimes I do go into the office. So I wake up, I get ready, I do some, meditation, and then I eat breakfast. And then, like, if I don't make coffee at home, if I have to go into the office, I pick it up. But if I am working from home, after breakfast and after I check like a few emails, then that's when I have the coffee. And then, so I'm like in that work mode, right? So, yeah, so it's been good. I haven't had any issues with my boss. That's really good. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess like, sometimes I do struggle like during the day, like I'm super sad, or like I get in these weird moods, like I don't know if it's like burnt out because of my job, or if it's me not drinking. Like there's so many elements that I'm thinking about, and I just don't know.
Yeah,
So yeah.
sounds like you've got a lot accomplished and kind of, you know, figured out where you're at and really nailed down what you thought was the trigger, you know, for you in for as far as your drinking goes. So how have you been handling that? um have you adjusted to that schedule pretty well, or are you is it
It's
still
still a
rough right
struggle.
now? Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a struggle. Like I'm gonna be honest, like I still have the alcohol in my house, you know? And like when I feel like I get the urge to, like, I, contemplate to myself, like, should I do it or should I not? Um, and it's just like it gets really overwhelming, and then it's just like I shut down, and I don't know. It's just so hard, to keep this routine. And then it's like, I guess like another thing is that like on the weekends is really hard because I'm not working,
Mhm.
so it's like, what do I do with my time? And then I feel more compelled to drink right on the weekends because I don't have anything else to do. So during the week, I would say, like, rating it from like a 1 to 10, one being like I can't do this, to 10 being like I'm super successful at my schedule. I feel like right now I'm between like a 6 and 7. Like I have like a set time I wake up, I have my routine. It's like I battle myself, right? So I don't I don't know. I haven't drank this week though. So that's a positive, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It sure
So,
is. You know, like I know that it sounds cliche, you know, but I know that you've probably heard the phrase just one day at a time, you know, take it one day at a time. And I know how cliche that sounds to a lot of people, but it's the truth. And you can even break it down to hour by hour, or, minute to minute if you have to.
You know what? You make a really good point, because I feel that during, like I have this big goal and it's like I need to obtain it right now. Right. And I think it would be like better for me to just take it one day at a time, or literally like, hour by hour. Right. And instead of being like, okay, like I need to do this, like, what is wrong with you? And like just really putting myself down because I'm struggling. Right. But I think that would be good for me to kind of analyze it that way, of one day at a time. And if I'm really having a bad day, just take it hour by hour, minute by minute, and just have a little grace with myself through this process.
Yeah, it is exactly, I've had it work for a lot of clients, because when you have these big goals like you have, and you have a very big goal, stopping your drinking, getting your depression and stuff under control. So you have a lot on your plate with just that, but then you throw in, the issues you're having at work, and, with your mom, and all different kinds of stuff. It can really creep up on you, especially like you said, on the weekends or at night when you don't have anything to do, no one else is in the house. If you're there by yourself and you're bored, it happens. And that's where that really helps and comes into play, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, this whole next week, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. Just say, what can I do for the next hour to make it through the next hour without drinking?
Right.
Or what can I do for the next 20 minutes to make it without drinking? What can I do to take up my time? Or, what constructive way, even if it's not constructive, even if it's just, I'm going to sit down and watch 4 hours of DVR, because I'm backed up on Chicago Med or Chicago Fire and I want to get caught up on it. That even if it's nothing that accomplishes absolutely anything but keeps you from drinking, that's all we're going for right now.
Right.
So that's great. That's great. So how's things at work going for you then? Are you still having issues?
No, my boss has been pretty lenient, I guess. He's not really hovering over me. So yeah, I mean, there's like some like, awkwardness. I don't know if it's awkwardness or just like tension, because of like everything that was going on, but I know the conversation needs to be had. But I don't think right now either one of us is ready to have the conversation. So I think right now he's just focusing on, okay, you just need to do your job, do it well, and then we're going to talk about this situation later at a later time, because we've been super busy. So it's been meeting after meeting, and if not, it's been, can you look at this, or can you call this client and I need you to look at that. And so it's been really busy, but it's been good. No complaints.
That's good. That's good. So going into the office instead of working from home all the time like you had been has been a good difference for you too then.
Yes. So I think it really helps getting out of the house, to be honest. The four walls really start closing in
They
the
do.
longer you're in them. So yeah, it's nice, but it's also nice to work from home, not having to, commute or, deal with traffic or get up extra early, right, to make it to work on time. So yeah, there's pros and cons to both.
That's very understandable. I mean, working from home, don't have to worry about fixing your hair or makeup or, dressing
Right.
up if you don't want to, if you don't feel like it, you can do what you want. You're in your own safe space, but at the same time, that what you think of as safe space can also be a bad space for you if you can't get out of your own head while you're in those four walls.
Right.
So I'm glad that you are getting out and trying something different as opposed to, you know, completely shutting down and you know, just saying forget it and working strictly from home, or just giving up the job altogether, which I know myself I've wanted to do a few times, so that is understandable. But I thought today, since you brought up pros and cons, I wanted to discuss with you some kind of ways that we can implement for you, for yourself to think about, you know, when you feel like drinking. Um, you can make a list of pros and cons for yourself and say, you know, what would be the benefit to this, or what would be the con to this if I were to drink. And, you know, that would kind of help you out in both your job and with your drinking as well.
Right.
So, you know, I've found that this has been successfully used with previous clients as well. And it kind of puts things into perspective for you. Because, you know, I know after a hard day of work, uh, you just sometimes want to just drink and forget what's going on, you know, but then you have another day of work the next day. So, you know, to make that list out and have it sitting in front of you and actually be able to view it, kind of helps put those things into perspective for you a little bit. So I wanted to kind of try that out with you while we're sitting in here today. Let's just say, okay, you've got into it with your boss. You decided you're not going to go into the office. You're working at home from home today. Even though you've got up, you had your breakfast, you know, you didn't have your coffee. It wasn't a trigger, but it's stressful. So let's take that scenario and make out a list of pros and cons together, and
Okay.
see what would benefit you, you know, what would benefit you and what would harm you in that way.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good.
okay. So what would be a pro to your drinking from home?
It would relieve stress. Maybe I should I'm gonna write this down because I think
Right
this
now.
is good, you know, because then I can have this as like a little template. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna open up that document here. Perfect. Okay, so the pro, it would relieve stress.
Relieve stress. Okay.
Right. So kind of like self-medicating, right? The pro, I mean, I like drinking. So what? I like it. I mean, that's a pro. Another one to drinking. To avoid do that. But that could also be a con. Would be to avoid. Oof. This is really good. Another con. Not able to do my job. A pro would be to, well, self-medicate, so for the depression. Con, well, if I didn't attend the meeting, my boss would be even more pissed off. And a con would be not able to remember the work I did. If I did do work intoxicated. Con would be after I drank, I would get more depressed. More depressed. So we have avoidance, incapable of doing my job, not remembering what I did.
What about your quality of work?
Yeah.
How does alcohol affect the quality of what you do from
My
home
God.
while you're
I
drinking?
have seen some emails that I have sent, and they haven't been no good. I don't even know how I still have a job. I could lose my job.
Is that a pro or a con for you?
Ooh, good question, Monica. Ugh. I mean, it would be can it be a pro and no, not really.
It can be whatever you need it, whatever you want it to be. It's all in how you perceive this, because this is for you. This isn't for anybody else. This is your own personal list. Like you said, you listed avoidance as a pro. I may have listed that as a con, but that's me, and you just seeing things differently. It's a good thing for you, and it could be a con for someone else. It's
Right.
all in how you see it. So it can be in whatever column you want it to be in. You just have to be honest with yourself about it.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess let me talk this out. So with losing my job, it would be a pro because I'm getting burnt out, right? So it would be kind of relieving in that sense, but also it would add more stress because I need my job to pay my bills. So I feel like it would be a con. Yeah, it would be, because for me to lose my job would put on myself severe financial hardship, which then could make my depression more severe than it already is. And then I could drink more. So it's a con. It's a con. It's a con. What else? So the pro is self-medicate for depression and stress to avoid, and I enjoy it. I have a lot of cons.
You read those off for me?
Yeah. So I guess the pro I did too. So a pro would be to avoid, but I also did that as a con because I feel like avoiding isn't doing anything for myself in that moment. Yes, it is, because I don't want to deal with it, but it only creates more stress. A con would be not being able to do my job, which then affects the quality of my work. My boss would be pissed. And if I did any work, not being able to remember what I did, I could lose my job and I could get more depressed. And it would, I could lose my job. Off of that would be financial hardship. There's a lot of cons, and I never realized that. There's a lot of cons. Drinking, I have realized, isn't doing anything for me.
In your pro column, you had mentioned that you like drinking. It helps you relax and avoid and but then I also, correct me if I'm wrong, heard you while you were talking it out that once you start drinking, then you become more depressed. Alcohol is naturally a depressant.
Right.
Like
I enjoy it with my friends, like
right.
when I'm hanging out, but when I'm alone, it's just more depressing. why is, like, I guess that's my thing. Why is that? Like, why is it when you're with people, it's so much fun and like, let's go dance and let's have a great time. But if you're drinking alone, why does it get you more depressed? You know, I
I,
guess,
s- I suppose it could have something to do with, when you're with people and, have that company and, like you said, out dancing, and you're not mulling over all of
mm,
the issues, that you have, and what your boss has said to you to make you mad today, or that your mom tried to call you for the 50th time and she doesn't get it, that you don't want to talk to her. It could be an email that was sent at work that had been bothering you, and you start going over that in your head. And it just, when you're with company or friends, or or out at the bars, or whatever the case may be, and it's loud and it's noisy, you don't have time or space to sit and think about all of that other stuff. So, um,
so,
yeah, that would be my take on the situation. Of course, everybody's different. I have clients who prefer to drink alone. They
right,
don't like to go out to bars. They don't like being around other people. They have a better time sitting at home, getting drunk by themselves, and doing whatever they want. That way they don't have to abide by rules at the, or
mm,
laws being out in public. Um,
right,
so, it's all a personal preference. So,
gotcha.
um,
Make- That
is
makes
there
sense.
is there anything that you could do, with your group of friends that did not involve alcohol, that you enjoy doing?
Yeah, actually, I really wanted to. So I really like to like meditate and I'm active. So I like yoga, but have you heard of goat yoga?
I have. It
Mm.
actually looks like a lot of fun.
Right?
It
Right. So
does.
I thought like how cute like the baby goats. I'm a huge
Goats.
animal lover. So I thought that would be cool to try, like instead of our normal routine, like, hey, let's go out or drinking or like let's go to this concert where there's alcohol.
Hmm.
Doing something different, I feel like for me, I need to really get out of my comfort zone. But it's like I have these great ideas, like right, like I'm talking to you, I have these great ideas, like let's go do goat yoga, like let's go, explore the world. But as soon as that comes up, I avoid. I make excuses. I feel like I don't know. I just get anxious and then it triggers me to drink. So that's where I struggle.
Have you had a chance to contact, your PCP in regards to your depression, to address that yet?
Yes. So she started me on back on a low dose of the 10 milligram Lexapro,
Hmm.
but it hasn't really like it has worked, but it really hasn't. So I actually Friday I have a telehealth visit with her
Hmm.
to talk about the medication. So
But how long did you say you'd been on it? I'm sorry.
I think like 5 days. I think
5 days.
yeah. So and she says it's gonna take a while, but I don't know. Like I'm not really getting like any side effects. So and she's like, usually there is some. So she's gonna talk to me about it. But
Is medication something that you're wanting to do, or is that
yeah.
yeah? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was okay with you, because I know in our last session we had touched base on it, and I, had suggested that you contact your PCP in regards to that, or a psychiatrist,
Right.
in order to do that. But we didn't really go too much into depth on how you felt about that. So,
No, I think it would like I knew I needed to get on it, but I think I just needed to hear it from somebody else too. Like kind of validating like, yeah, like I think this would be a good idea, you know? Um yeah, no. It no like it was my idea, and I think I just need that little more push, you know,
Mhm.
little oomph.
Which a lot of us do. A lot of us
Right.
do. You know, it seems like a good idea, but once you hear somebody else, put that idea into your head or bring up the subject, then it just, like you said, it validates it and makes it a little bit easier of a decision to make. So,
Right.
well, that's good. Do you recall when you were in, you said you took that in college, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you recall how long it took to take effect for you before?
I
Because I
would
know
say,
those,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, with those SSRIs, it can take, 2, 3, 4 weeks before you start really seeing any sort of effects from it. So I didn't know
Yeah,
if you
yeah, she did tell me that.
Mhm.
Um, so I think she just kind of wants just to do the telehealth visit, because if she feel like, if she and I kind of agree that maybe I just need to stay on it, then that's fine, like at the dose it is. But if she wants to up it just a little bit, then she can just call in the prescription, and we already have the doctor's appointment to kind of back that up. So I think that's kind of what she's looking at doing. Um, but yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, I'll let you know next week how it goes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about today while I have you here is I know you said you were have been struggling, with the routine and finding ways to fill your time up and these voids, and that you're just kind of going through the motions, but you still are feeling those overwhelming sensations and times where you want to drink so bad because you don't have anything to do. It's the weekend, you have no work, and a lot of people, that's where they tend to, um, I don't want to say fall off the wagon, because that terminology just isn't really the what I'm looking for here, but that they tend to sway more towards things that they shouldn't be doing, that you're trying to avoid doing. So I wanted to talk with you about coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
give you some tools on what to do when you have those feelings. If the
Mhm.
pros and cons aren't enough to deter you, if you just say, screw it, I've only got one pro, and I got 10 cons, but I'm going to do it anyways just because I've had a terrible day. These kind of um, help you feel a little more grounded. They're supposed to help kind of put you in tune with everything, to really know how you're feeling and what you need, and kind of see what works for you and see what doesn't, because everybody's different.
Right.
So I've got a few suggestions here, that I think would most likely help you. Um, the first one is you had mentioned, that you like going out, hanging out, drinking, dancing, whatever, with your friends. But when you're home alone and you drink, you feel down and discouraged.
Right.
Um, what does your social network, your friends, what does that look like outside of drinking? Are there, I know you said that you've talked to yourself about doing other stuff, goat yoga and this and that. Um, do you have a support system that you could go to for other things other than drinking and partying with?
I do. I have a few girls that I work with. We were talking about it, um, doing something. But yeah, I don't think I would ask the group of girls that I go drinking with, because I don't know how they would feel about that. Um, I don't know. I guess maybe I could ask them, but I feel like it would be good just to do like the
Something separate,
yeah, something separate. So
something
maybe
with
you could,
someone you didn't associate alcohol with. That's
right.
that's understandable. I mean, that's one thing that they say also in recovery, is that, you know um, you can't go back to the same people, you can't go back to the same setting, you can't go back to the same lifestyle and doing things that certain way if you're looking for change. That is literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again expecting different results. So if you change your scenery, you change, the people around you, you change your actions, then that could lead to something potentially more productive. So one coping mechanism, the first one I wrote down here, is to reach out and stay connected and look for support from people who make you feel safe, and someone that you're able to do these healthier activities with. I know
Sorry,
that.
I'm just writing it down. So I
Okay,
think it's
no
great.
problem.
Go ahead. I'm typing. I was just
Okay. So you do have a group,
I
that you
do.
could do that with.
I have a few girlfriends that I work with. I think because we were talking about doing something like, because we always like talk, text, and we see each other at work, and like our life revolves around work. So yeah, we were talking about some things that we could do like on the weekend just to kind of decompress. So I think that would be really good because I haven't gone out drinking, and the only time that I have gone out with them is like to grab lunch while we were at work.
I know that you had mentioned that you had a friend that came to you in our last session. She was the one that actually brought the drinking to your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of your friends that you normally go drinking with, or is that one of those work friends that you're mentioning?
No, no, she's my best friend.
Oh,
So yeah, she's really close, but um she doesn't live here. So she was seeing stuff
oh,
posted on social media, and like every time she would call, I would sound concerning to her. So
I see.
yeah, so the last time she was up here, she really talked to me about it. And yeah, so yeah, unfortunately she isn't here. So
That's understandable, and it can be hard, especially in the earlier months and years of recovering from drinking, like you
right.
have been. You need to have someone that you can call, even if you call them at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, I need somebody to talk to, or hey, can you come over? I'm thinking about drinking, or I'm thinking about, you need to have that kind of support system for yourself. So
Right.
another way to help, another coping mechanism is, I call it FaceTime, and just making a priority to be face to face with people. And if you get invited to a cookout, go. Even if you don't feel like it, if you would rather just stay home and drink and sit in your sweatpants and your sweatshirt because you don't feel like dealing with anybody today, get up and go anyway. As
I think
much.
that I think that would be good, like for the avoidance for me, like I have these great ideas, like I was telling you, like let's do this goat yoga, but then when it comes up to that point, it's like I like to avoid. So I feel like that would be great, and then I could use the pro and con list, like to analyze it. Okay, like what's the pro of going right to the cookout? Um, but or what's the con, and then looking at from what's the pro of staying home to what's the con of staying home, and analyzing it that way, because I really like, just like my drinking, like to see all those cons literally underneath it, and there's probably more that I haven't even thought about, so like the pro is 3 things compared to like the 7.
When it's printed out on paper for you or wrote down on paper for you, it's a little more defined
Yeah.
than just, oh, I'm going to drink because I don't want to do any, I want to avoid this. So it's nice to have those lists out in front of you. I know that has helped me personally as well, and helped a lot of other clients, because when you actually put it out there, and like you said, there's probably some that you haven't thought of yet, because this is just, you know, a 45-minute to an hour session. But if you sat there and really thought about it, I'm sure that you could put 5 to 10 more on the con side as well.
Right.
So, okay, so FaceTime, make it a priority. Even if you don't want to go, get up and go. Another thing is I don't know your living situation, or if you own or rent, or what the situation is too, but a lot of times people who are suffering from depression that don't want to get on medications, they have a animal companion. You said you're an animal lover. I don't know if you have any pets in your home, but caring for a pet, uh, when you're sitting at home too, you know, if there is nothing else to do, or even in the middle of the night, it seems to really help. There's no FDA studies backing this up, but there have been a lot of different studies that have been done that shows that pets help with so much stuff. That's why they have so many animals that you can have as service animals, you know, even as just an emotional support animal. And that really helps lighten the mood. You know, if you're having a really bad day and you're crying sitting at home instead of drinking, you have a dog or a cat to curl up with and talk to. Even though they don't talk back, I talk to mine like they know how to talk back, or they understand what I'm saying. But it's that is a true helpful thing also. um,
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I do have 2 dogs,
oh,
and I
okay,
feel,
so you already know that then.
yeah, but I feel like I've kind of been like wallowing. So it's kind of like I'm not like neglecting them. Like they still get like food, water, they go outside and stuff. But I feel like when I'm, like really in that slump, I feel like, like taking them for a walk and getting outside, and I feel like that could help motivate me. So I think that would be a good um
Taking the
coping
dogs for a walk.
taking them for a walk.
That actually leads me to my next one.
Sure.
I know that we were talking about how, in the last couple of sessions, your eating habits. You know, you said you didn't really have too much of breakfast in the morning, and you know, you might have had a snack or a light dinner or whatever, and then you would start drinking. Um, Eating healthy and exercising are two, I know that sounds cliche also, but they are two of the best things that you could possibly do naturally for yourself to help fight against depression. Making sure you're getting good sleep, you have a healthy, balanced diet, and exercise when you can, because that extra endorphins and dopamine that your brain lets off from exercising will help boost your mood. It helps boost your mood. It helps boost, um, you know, your stress levels. It brings those down. And there's just a lot of natural good benefits from exercising, so long as you don't have any medical conditions that
Right.
you know can will be affected and can hurt you in that way. So going for a walk with the dogs, that's great. You know, getting some fresh air, sun shining on your face, get the vitamin, soak up that vitamin D. Those are all, you know, great ways to help you, along with, you know, your medications, if you and your doctor feel that that's still the best route to go with that, if she's going to up your dosage or whatever happens to be done. So that's another area. Is your, now that you've switched up your routine, how is your sleeping and eating and stuff going?
Hmm. So breakfast is awesome. I really enjoy breakfast. Um, I'm not like a big lunch person anymore. I think it's because I eat too big of a breakfast. So
Mhm.
I eat a light lunch and then I eat a dinner. I have been doing that, and I have been getting like really tired around 9 o'clock, between like 9 and 9:30, where I was really struggling with, sleep and falling asleep and staying asleep. And right now I do wake up in the middle of the night, to use the bathroom or, or I just like wake up, but I do fall back asleep. So from like 9, I'd say like the latest I go to bed is 10,
10
and
o'clock.
sometimes I'll wake up at 3. So, I mean, I get a solid 5, but then I go back to sleep.
And how's that making you feel when you get that extra sleep? Does that help at all the next day? Do you feel more rested?
I do. I feel like sometimes I am tired, but I seem to have more motivation to get up and to get going and to think about like what I want for breakfast has really helped. Like it kind of motivated me because I like cooking breakfast.
That's good. See, you found something that you enjoy doing. I know you even have a smile on your face when when you say it. So
I
that,
love bacon.
oh goodness, who doesn't?
Bacon is my fave.
Yes,
So
absolutely. So if you can
yeah,
get
it
up
makes
early
me
enough to
happy.
have that,
Right.
bacon makes everything better.
No. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's been good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Good. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Um, so one more thing I wanted to touch base on, and then we'll kind of wrap up here. And I wanted to uh, put out there too about ways to help with your drinking as well. Some things that you can do yourself, since you are opening up really well in session. I think that's fantastic. But instead of keeping to yourself, when you talk to others, if you're not having a good day, um, this is another coping mechanism for you here, is to be honest about how you're feeling or how your day is going. I mean, maybe obviously don't throw in any hurtful words or, throw anybody under a bus or anything, but,
Right.
say, instead of saying, oh, it was good, say, it really wasn't that great. Thank you
Yeah.
for asking, but it really wasn't that great. And this is why, or, I've, I've had a lot of people who that has really helped too, instead of trying to put the brave face on, being open and honest. And either the people who ask you, they're either really interested and want to know how you're doing, and if they're just asking you to be polite, then they're not going to ask you again. So
Right.
you weed out who your true friends are, and then it kind of helps you to get some stuff off of your chest as well if you have to.
I think that's a really great idea because I usually do tend to
Right.
present like I have my shit together all the
Right.
time. Like everything's great and having a great day and nothing's wrong, but it's okay to have a bad day. I have to
Abs-
remember that.
Absolutely, everybody has them, and unfortunately. So um, with that in mind, it's about time for your session to be done with. So
Okay.
I am going to just kind of do an overview here.
Mhm.
And then if you don't mind, I have a couple of questions to ask you what you thought about your session overall. And then we can just plan on talking more on your next one, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, great. Okay, so to kind of wrap stuff up, we did the pros and cons, and you've got that all written down now too, so you can use that as a tool next time you run into that kind of situation. It kind of helps balance it out for you, so you can see everything in writing.
Hmm.
Um, Also, your coping mechanisms. You kind of jotted down what you thought would work and what wouldn't for you, and always keep that in mind too. If you're having any issues, and if that medication that your doctor prescribed you isn't working for you, be sure that you keep in close contact with her as well. Just to kind of stay on top of things. I know how easy it is to get frustrated and deterred
Hmm.
when you're trying to accomplish a goal. Like I said, break it down minute to minute or hour by hour if you have to. and don't give up on the medication and stuff just yet. Hopefully that'll kick in, or you guys can find the right combination or right dosage that is going to help
Right.
you with that depression. So hopefully that'll help alleviate some of the drinking as well, because as you said before, it's your drinking stems from the frustration and the anxiety and the depression and stuff. So so next time we will kind of put some of those other things into play. I wanted to go over some other counseling steps with you. See if I can get you into some group settings as well that I think might be helpful, and then we'll kind of go from there, if that sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that very much. And I just would like to ask you, I got 4 questions here on how you feel our session has went today, okay?
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I did not feel heard, understood, or respected, 10 being I felt heard, understood, and respected. How would you feel that our session went today?
10.
10? Well, that's
10.
good. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Okay. The second one is we did not work, 1 being scale 1 to 10. 1, we did not work on or talk about what I wanted to work on or talk about. And 10 being we worked on and talked about what I wanted to work on and talk about. How would you
10.
rate that? 10 also?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, number 3, 1 being the therapist's approach is not a good fit for me, and 10 being the therapist's approach is a good fit for me. How would you rate today's session, 1 through 10?
10.
10?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And last but not least, also scale 1 to 10, 1 being there was something missing in the session today, and 10 being overall today's session was right for me. How would you rate our session?
9.9.
9.9. No, that's fantastic. I'll take it.
No, 10. It was a 10. I just wanted to joke, I guess. I don't know why I just had the urge to joke, but
That's fine. That's fine. Absolutely. I love a sense of humor, and if that's how, some people, that's how they present themselves, and that kind of means you may be letting down a wall, for
right.
future sessions too. So that's great. If you feel like joking around every once in a while, therapy doesn't have to be all serious all the time.
Right.
Because if we were all serious all the time, we would lose our minds, and all of us would be drinking constantly. So humor is definitely another coping mechanism.
Yes.
So that's another one to use too. So that's great. But all right, Sam. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again next week then.
Great. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
evening.
You too, hon. Okay. I am just going to keep recording this for the feedback instead of submitting 2 of them. So
okay.
I'm like trying to stay below my eyebrows here because I still have that lump.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
It was good. I
Yeah.
think it was perfect. The session flowed nicely. The interventions were perfect. Talking about the coping mechanisms, I think that was good. I like the structure of the session. I think that, I guess that's just my that's my opinion. No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
Your preference?
Preference. Thank you. I'm so tired. I'm so sorry.
It's
no, that's my
okay.
preference, because it, even as the client, it helps me to be like, okay, that I know this is what we're doing, instead of it just kind of okay, well, what else do I talk about?
Right.
So I liked that. The interventions were awesome. And that pros and cons list was good. That was so good. I mean, you could do that for anything.
Anything.
If you don't want to, you're contemplating on this birthday party, and you can be like, what's the pro to go? what's the con to go?
Right.
Should I just go? You know, like, so I think that's great. I think that's awesome. And I'm definitely going to use it in the future. No, you did great, Monica. You're so empathetic. You're compassionate. You're genuine. Um, you focus a lot on the strengths, and I like that. You know, especially, you know, because a lot of times I've been to therapy. A lot of times counselors are not the ones to point out strengths.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of the times clients need to hear that to get more motivation to change.
Right.
So I really like that. And you're just gonna rock it as a therapist. You really are.
Well, thank you. I was trying to practice more because I had feedback from a couple of other people too on my sessions, and a couple of people had said silence, and you even said, silence can be a good thing. You don't have to fill the air all the time with talking, and you've even told me that also, because it kind of can give you the client time to sit and process and think about what they were thinking about, or maybe makes them think about something else and they want to start talking about that. So I tried that a little bit more this session. I don't know exactly how successful I was. I
No, you
had to go
were.
back and look at it.
No, like I think it was great. Like I really don't have any complaints. Um, you asked me, like, you checked in, how is everything going? You were really listening. But then you would like kind of like probe me to, you know, talk about this, and then you would listen. But it's hard because when we do interventions, right, we need to kind of explain like what it is.
Right.
You know, like you know, like, hey, I want to try something out. Have you ever heard this before? And then they're like, no, what is this? And then you have to talk, you know, you kind of have to explain. So this is what I'm hearing you say. This is the problem, right?
Right.
So if we do this, right, the intervention, the pros and cons, it can help you identify, right? And then, but you're still talking. So I think you did the right amount of talking.
Okay, good. I was hoping that it wasn't too much because, like I said, I wanted to do the pros and cons while you were in session. And so I was hoping that doing that and going through that list with you wouldn't take up too much time of me talking and the client not talking. So I didn't
No,
know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I was kind of on the fence about what to do about that. So,
no, I think that was really good because
okay.
practicing with it for me, I guess, like in my experience working with clients, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna journal at night. And then like the next week goes by. So, you know, so did you journal at night? Well, no. Okay. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna journal right now. You know, like we're gonna talk about how we're feeling today, or write down like what do you want to write in your journal? Like walking them through it, being their support, but also like explaining like what it does.
Right.
Right. You know, and I think you did great.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm going to stop the recording then.
Of course.